Do you know what is the secret weapon of every powerful speaker? It isn't talent, it isn't luck, something much more basic than that. It is actually practice. Have you ever stood up and felt your heart pounding so hard that it drowned out your thoughts? You could actually hear your heartbeat in your ears? Or had sweaty palms or a dry mouth when you speak? Or been so uncomfortable with all the physical sensations and the emotional and the mental stress that you've avoided speaking altogether? That is how I used to feel. Small, nervous, and absolutely certain that I was not cut out to be a speaker. And what I learned, so the space bar mutes if you're interested, what I learned is that being a good public speaker is like learning how to drive. At first, when we're learning how to drive, every move feels really clunky. The foot hovers over the pedals. Which one are we going to press down? We have eyes darting between the mirrors to make sure we're not going to hit anything. And we grip that steering wheel with our hands so tightly we can see white knuckles. And we overthink every motion. We second guess every decision. And we wonder in the back of our minds if we will ever feel in control. But the more that we learn and practice, the smoother it becomes until driving confidence is just, well, automatic, really. And now most of us probably get in our cars and take off without even thinking about all of those skills that we're using that let us drive with confidence. Think about it. When was the last time you really considered the skills that we use to drive a car? Now, you might not know this, but as part of my martial arts training, I've spent years competing as a fighter. And this meant practicing sparring drills over and over again to create what's called muscle memory. So when I was in a fight and my opponent behaved in an unpredictable way, my body could react automatically through that muscle memory. And that muscle memory was something that I developed through lots and lots of practice. Now, I've also taught martial arts for many years, and one day I realized something powerful. When I teach students, I don't expect them to be flawless. We repeat moves over and over. We build muscle memory. And if we don't get the hang of it at first, we keep trying. And then we earn confidence through that practice. And I realized that those same skills are present in public speaking. So I started treating public speaking like martial arts, and I practiced and practiced until the words and the gestures and the pauses felt as automatic as driving a car. After this keynote I delivered in the USA a few years ago, one of the members of the audience said to me afterwards, "Wow, you're such a natural speaker." I kind of smiled, but on the inside I was thinking, oh, it's nothing to do with talent because I've trained so much for this and I've practiced so many of the skills over and over and over again. So what looks like natural talent is actually all about practice techniques. Now, practice is one of the three essential pillars of my public speaking confidence framework. And if we want to speak with power and presence, we have to train for it. Because every time we practice, we're going to build our skill and our confidence. So I hope that it's clear how important practice is, but just in case, here are the 7 major benefits. The first one is that practice really helps to reduce anxiety. The first time we practice a talk, and a few of you have had the opportunity to do that today, we can feel really nervous and maybe stumble a little bit. The second time, though, we know what's coming next. And by the third, fourth, fifth, 10th times, our nerves are dropping and our confidence is rising. And that's because practice turns the unknown into the familiar. Now, practice also helps make our messages flow really clear. And when we practice, we notice where those words are that feel kind of clunky or confusing or hard to say. I've got some specific examples here, which I'm going to attempt to deliver without a lot of spit attached. The first one is specific statistics. not a combination of words you ever want to put into a talk. Neither is rural road, because you end up with some sort of jaw dislocation going with the rural roads. So those things that can seem like perfectly innocent words on paper can turn into stumbling blocks when they come out of your mouth. Practicing lets us fix up those confusing parts before they trip us up on stage or online. Practice also helps us get our timing right because we learn beforehand if we're talking too fast or talking too slowly. Practice also helps us say fewer filler words like or ah. Now, these are words we use to kind of fill that silence that we fear so much while our brains are scrambling to remember what comes next in our talk. I recently saw a very, very successful business owner use the word okay in his talk, and he used this word okay at the end of every single sentence. So he would say a sentence, okay, sentence, okay. This was a 40-minute talk, and by the end it was absolutely cringy to listen to. Practice gives us the opportunity to identify and reduce those filler words so that we can come across more polished and professional. Practice also helps us to look physically more confident as well, because through practice we can work on our body language, standing tall, using gestures, and making eye contact, all in a way that feels and becomes both automatic and natural. Good practice also helps us to remember our talk too, and those people who've been practicing know this to be the case. The more that we rehearse our talk, the less we have to rely on notes or slides, and the more that we can connect with the audience. And that's because the more we practice, the better we remember our talk, and therefore the more confident we feel when we deliver it. And finally, practice really helps because it lets us spot those tech or slide problems in advance. We can notice glitches that might be in our slides and fix them before we're on stage. Like that spelling error that we missed the first 4 times that we did the slideshow. Or Canva slideshows, for example. If you don't know this, I learned this one the hard way. Canva slideshows will lose their images if they're left on standby in presenter mode for more than a few minutes. So to sum it up, these are the skills we develop through proper practice. We can help reduce anxiety, make the flow of our talk really clear and easy and engaging for the audience. We can make sure we keep to the correct timing that's available. We can avoid the use of those filler words that make the audience cringe and start to count them instead of listening to what we're saying. We can develop physical confidence so we look polished and professional on stage. It can help to remember the talk more easily and prevent that fear of forgetting what we're talking about. And it can help us to reduce and remove many of the problems that we would not notice if we hadn't practiced in advance. The important thing here is public speaking confidence is not magic. It's a skill, and that skill can only be earned through practice. The more we train, the stronger and smoother our speaking muscles become. In our next session, we're going to break down exactly how to practice, the drills, the habits, and the systems so that we can maximize those 7 benefits and walk onto any stage